Aphrodisias is one of the best preserved sites in the area. It has very few tour buses coming into it, and you can explore this ancient city without the hassles of tour guides going blah 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 in heaps of languages. It has its own on-site museum, a must to visit. During Roman times, Aphrodisias was home to a famous school for sculptors who were attracted there by high-grade marble 2 kilometres away at the foot of Mount Barber. The museum reflects the excellence of Roman sculpture, and for us it was a chance to meet a whole pile of new faces, bodies and feet from 2,000 years ago. This monument dates back to 30 BC and depicts the life of C. Julius Zoilos. Is there anybody we know here?
Not personally. Some names I've heard of.
Alright. There's Apollo from 100 BC, naked Aphrodite, too bad the rest of her is missing, Dionysos and a crowd of others, and some coins. This is Hygeia, the goddess of health. Hygeia was the daughter of Asclepios, the healing god. That's where we get the word hygiene from. The Sebastian Hall displays marble reliefs excavated in 1979 by Professor Kenan Erim. Kenan Erim was born in Istanbul and obtained a PhD in archaeology from the Princeton University. He spent a lot of his life fundraising to restore this site, as well as undertaking excavations, and finally died at age 61. Uh-oh, that's my age. And was buried here at Aphrodisias. There's tons of stuff to see here because Aphrodisias was a prehistoric settlement mound occupied 7,000 years ago. Subsequently, the settlement mound became the site of the theatre. The theatre seated 7,000 people, and its construction was by Gaius Julius Zoilos, the freed slave of Octavian Augustus, the first Roman emperor. In Roman times, the town was prosperous and famous for its sanctuary of Aphrodite. Its monuments are unusually well preserved, making it one of the most important archaeological sites in Turkey. In 100 BC, a new town was laid out on a grid plan and occupied a square kilometre and had a maximum population of 15,000. Its prosperity continued until 600 AD, when the Temple of Aphrodite was converted into a Christian church. It became a small cathedral town of the Middle Ages, but was eventually abandoned in 1200 AD. The inscription by this sarcophagus reads, "The sarcophagus of Perietas and his wife Tatia. The city council and the people honour the deceased Perietes Calamides, the son of Diogenes, grandson of Apollonios, an excellent man who lived illustriously, gloriously and virtuously, who carried out public duties, public offices and embassies, and his office of temple overseer gloriously, properly and illustriously, and who did everything in a manner befitting the dignity of his family, for which the city council and the people called for the deceased to be honoured." Hey, stand by that cog. It's smaller. I'll take a photo. Oh, just to the right of it. Yeah, that's it. Excavations were begun by the New York University in 1961 and continue to this day. donkey.
I think the donkey's more comfortable.
Laodicea on the Lycus is also known as Laodicea ad Lycum in Latin and Laodicea in Turkish. Earlier it was known as Diospolis and before that as Roas. It was built on the Lycos River and isn't a big place and can be seen in about an hour or so. $20 to see a couple of rocks.
But they're very special.
They're very special rocks, I guess. Yeah, you're right. On this site are no less than 51 points of interest. Excavations here have brought to light architecture, pottery, obsidian and flintstone finds dating back 5,500 years. Coins used 2,400 years ago have also been dug up here. Here we are. Look, what street are we walking?
Syria.
Syria Street in Laodicea. The only question I would ask is, why are we always have to do it in 40 degrees?
Yeah, I know. And what time is it? 10 past 3?
10 past 3. There's just nobody here at all. I think they've all died of the heat. Water here is about 40 degrees as well. Laodicea was once a prosperous commercial city at the junction of two major trade routes. It was famous for its black wool, banking and medicines. It had a large Jewish community and a prominent Christian congregation and was one of the 7 churches of the New Testament book of Revelation. It was about this congregation that Jesus said that they were lukewarm because they were rich and well off. You scared? It's a big drop down there. Also, the famous Cicero lived here for a few years, before being put to death by Mark Antony. Ancient and modern historians have been recording all the earthquakes that have occurred here since 27 BC, and on a number of occasions the city was flattened to the ground. A big one occurred in 602 AD, and as a result the city was abandoned and new ones built at Denizli, Kalaiji and Hazakoi. Fancy driving a cart down here. Here's Pamukkale in the distance. Here's the theatre at Laodicea. I feel like reciting some Shakespeare. Here goes. To boldly go where no man has gone before. I'm pretty sure Shakespeare said that. If it wasn't him, I think it must have been Christopher Columbus. The city, having grown rich through trade, paid much attention to culture and sports. This stadium holds 25,000 people. Naturally, there were baths and a sophisticated water system. The clay pipes are clearly visible today. By the way, the water is piped from distant Pamukkale, so by the time it gets here, it's lukewarm. Archaeological work started in 1833 and continues to this day. On the way to Philadelphia, we passed Jishmabashi with a population of 215. Today, Philadelphia is the modern town of Alashir with a population of 40,000. It's not mentioned in any of the mainstream travel guidebooks, so it was a bit of an effort to locate the ancient site within the town. This Philadelphia is not to be confused with other Philadelphias. For example, Amman, the capital of Jordan, where the Dead Sea Scrolls are located, was also called Philadelphia. The only ancient remains left above ground is the St John's Church, which dates back to 600 AD, and it only takes 15 minutes to view the site. Philadelphia was established in 189 BC by King Eumenes II of Pergamon. He named the city for the love of his brother, who would be his successor, Attalus II, whose loyalty earned him the nickname Philadelphos, literally meaning one who loves his brother.
I've got one foot in the grave and the other one on banana skin.
The city is perhaps best known as the site of one of the 7 churches of Asia in the book of Revelation. Jesus said of this church that it had endured and had been faithful to him. Philadelphia was a prosperous Byzantine city, known for its wines, and being in an agricultural area, has survived to this day. The ancient city of Sadis is located near the modern village of Sard. It's a huge site with dozens of points of interest, and we had to drive to see different parts of it.
Hey, stand by all those bathtubs, I'll take a picture.
Got no plug hole.
Big bathtub.
It is, isn't it?
At the ticket office, we bought a ticket for the entire site, which has multiple entrances, then walked up to the Temple of Artemis.
Another cock. Hey, a stone Dunlop tyre.
The Temple of Artemis was built 2,300 years ago by the ancient Greeks from marble quarried from a gorge about 3 kilometres away. Archaeologists have worked out how they built these massive columns, sections which weigh up to 28 tonnes and raise to a height of 60 feet. Incredible! Sadis is one of the 7 churches of Revelation. It was the congregation that had fallen asleep.
Yeah, at least it's not 40 at the moment.
No, it's only 12 o'clock.
It's only 12 o'clock, yeah, so it's probably only about 30 or so.
There's ants crawling all over them. Quite nice.
It's really hot in Turkey.
Oh, this is a very hot dog in Turkey.
Be a very good example of a hot dog. Except that,
hot dogs.
yeah, except he's not a takeaways.
Yeah, he's no take. It's a little girl.
The site has been known as Sardis for more than 3,000 years. Compare that with how long America has been called America and you get the sense of perspective. Artifacts dating back 9,000 years have been recovered here. Just imagine holding an item that was made 9,000 years ago, aside from the dirt here that was made 4.5 million years ago.
We don't want you on Funniest Home videos. I've never seen you run so fast.
Yeah. What's that about?
Chatting and bathing in tepid, warm and cold water formed an important Roman tradition, combined in this pool and gymnasium complex. This ancient road carried traffic for 2,500 years, and during Roman times was 18.5 metres wide, twice the width of a modern highway. It was paved with marble blocks. Note how today it's below ground level, like most archaeological ruins. Sardis was a major city for nearly 1,500 years, between 700 BC and 700 BCE. It covered an area of 300 acres and was built near the Pactolus River. Their kings, Gyges, Eleates and Croesus, were fabulously rich thanks to the fertile river valley and the gold mining here. This picture explains how they extracted the gold 2,600 years ago, using fleece sieves and refinement by furnaces located right on this spot. Excavations here have been carried out by the American Society for the Excavation of Sardis since 1910 and continue to this day. Many buildings here are unexcavated or partly covered for their own protection.
It's amazing they still let you walk over these mosaic floors. Well, I think they do.
Modern toilets are hard to beat when it comes to convenience and privacy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
It was hot, so we pulled up under a fig tree for a rest.
This is a fig. The man down the road gave us a whole bag. Not many left because we've eaten a lot.
They're yummy too.
They are nice off his tree.
Pretty good, eh?
Some of them are a bit ripe. Pretty nice.
What can you say? If only I like figs.
They're quite nice.
We had a quick break for lunch, no photos allowed in this mall, and then we were on our way to our final destination of the day, Colossae, passing through kilometres and kilometres of fertile valley. We just couldn't resist a photo shoot with some grapes.
Oh, it's very hot. I think we might be 20 years too early.
Come all this way to see a signpost.
Yeah, looks like it.
Never mind. It's only 40 degrees, so don't worry.
Colossae is on the Lycus River, which is a tributary of the Meander River and has never been excavated. It's not in mainstream guidebooks and therefore gets no tourists except for intrepid travellers like ourselves. It can get quite cold here, judging from the abandoned ticket office. Pliny wrote that the wool of Colossae gave its name, Colossinus, and the Apostle Paul wrote a letter to the church here. A man named Epaphras was the founder of the Colossian church, and it was also the birthplace of medieval writers like Nicetas and Michael Choniates.
Seem to have stumbled across two chairs that will look remarkably like the chairs you might find in Turkey today.
And that's all there is at Colossae.
So far, we might find a table, who knows?
The town, written about 2,400 years ago, eventually fell into decay, possibly due to an earthquake in 60 AD. We had a quick look around the lower areas and also ate some delicious peaches. Colossae is a really good example of a settlement mound. They all look like this prior to excavation.
The things that we adventurers get up to.
It's very nice and cold. Oh, you were. This better be a cemetery and just not a load of concrete blocks.
Unfortunately, they were just blocks. A farmer had used some ancient building blocks to enclose a paddock. A walk in an icy cold stream before heading back to our Pamukkale base was truly refreshing.
This water, because it comes from the mountain, is icy cold. Makes it very pleasant when it's warm as this.